Will he ever want a committed relationship? Well, of all the questions that I'm asked, this one subject gets more attention than anything else. Whether or not a man will ever come around and want a committed relationship with you. There is just so much fear around this subject. We're afraid as soon as we leave, as soon as we give up on him, as soon as we decide to let go and move on, that he's going to come around and he's going to want that committed relationship. And we're going to miss the kind of relationship with him that we had been waiting and holding on for so long. I remember having this exact feeling. I was just so sure that if I gave up waiting, if I let go of holding on and hanging around waiting for him to finally see the light, it would be at that exact time that he's suddenly going to be ready for a commitment. And I was terrified that I was going to miss out on everything that I've been waiting for. So first of all, let's set the record straight here, okay? If he were to come around and suddenly be ready to commit to you, and that's a huge if, and you had just left him, he would pursue you. He would chase you. There's no way a man in love and ready to have a committed relationship with you is going to let you just walk away if he's made that decision, or if he's very close to making that decision. He's going to know how to contact you. He was just with you, and he will. Okay, men are wired to be the pursuers, okay? Nothing you do or say, or don't say, can alter that. He's going to find you. He's going to track you down if he decides that he's going to step up and make the commitment to you that you've been holding out for. He will know you've been waiting for this. It won't matter where in the world that you've gone to. He's really resourceful when he wants to be. Okay, so that was a huge if. If you're in the same situation that I found myself in many times during my dating days, okay, staying with a guy, wondering all along if he's ever going to want the kind of committed relationship that you want. Here are 3 major signs that make it more likely in order of importance. Okay, number 3. He's been in a committed relationship before. Not just a long-term relationship or a live-in relationship that gave the appearance of being a committed relationship, but I'm talking here about a fully committed relationship where he was emotionally present from start to finish. So this is a slippery one, though, because sometimes it's because he was so committed before that he doesn't ever want to be involved like that again. So if he was really hurt before, if there was a betrayal of trust, then there is a greater likelihood that he may not be ready to be in another committed relationship, or at least not right away, not for a while. But still, even just to know that he was emotionally capable of one in the past, that does give some hope that he could eventually be capable of one again, given enough time and trust building to see that it could happen again. How many relationships he's been in is also a factor, because someone who has been in many committed relationships but has never committed fully to any one of them, now that's a warning sign that this person is not capable of moving forward beyond a certain level of commitment, even though he may think he is, because he can say that he's been in committed relationships before. So he sees that as proof he can be. Now, unless he's willing to dig deeper and discover why he cannot move beyond that point for him, there's usually not much chance that you'll magically be the one who prompts him to suddenly change that point of no return for him. Number 2. You can talk to him about commitment or the lack of one. You can actually talk to him about this. Okay, if you can talk about this subject, there's hope, right? Most of the time, these men are so emotionally unavailable that you intuitively do not even attempt to talk to him about his lack of commitment and your desire to have a committed relationship, right? I mean, you don't even go there. If you're able to be this direct with him and he responds without changing the subject or giving you the cold shoulder or even just silence or changing the subject or simply disappearing altogether, this is definitely encouraging. Healthy, honest communication is the most important cornerstone for a strong relationship. And without this type of direct communication on both sides, it's really difficult, if not impossible, to have that deep kind of emotional connection that's the precursor to the kind of committed relationship that we're talking about here. You can have all the attraction or incredible chemistry in the world, but without being able to actually engage with each other and be engaged with each other's thoughts and minds, there's nothing deep enough to hold the relationship together, and there's no basis for that true commitment to grow out of. That's why the number one question I ask is, how do you communicate? What's your communication like? Number 1, he has a good relationship with his family, particularly his dad. This one is huge. Back in my single days, when my girlfriends and I were all dating these emotionally unavailable, non-committal type of men, we found that over the years that in every single case, our emotionally unavailable man could be linked to a poor or non-existent relationship with his family, and in particular, his dad. Time after time, we would compare notes, trying desperately to figure out what made these guys tick. And we would come up with the same thing. This guy either wasn't talking to his dad, didn't care to have anything to do with him, or didn't have anything to say about him at all. It was like he was non-existent. And then the exact opposite was also true, that those men who did have a strong or at least a good relationship with their dads were the ones who were emotionally available, and they actually were the ones who wanted a relationship with us, which made for a really interesting story when we realized that when the tables were turned and we found ourselves in relationships with men who actually wanted that same commitment from us that we were looking for from our other commitment-phobic men, it was we who were the ones who had difficult or strained or non-existent relationships with our own families, in particular, our fathers. So that really got us thinking. Whether it's the example that's set in these all-important first relationships where we learn what a real love relationship looks like, whether it's actually love or not, or whether it's how we feel about ourselves and respond to this first relationship with the father in our lives, it seems that there's something to this unique relationship that directly influences the ability of these men to desire a committed relationship. And ironically, the very thing that may be attracting us to these men in the first place. The bottom line here is this. You're not going to change him. You're a beautiful, special, wonderful woman with so much to offer someone worthy of what a gift you truly are, someone who can see you in the first place. But you're not going to change him. You can try, but it's got to come from him. There are many things you can do to try to move things along and see if that can bring him around, but he's going to be the one deciding if he's even ready to dig deeper within himself and do the work he needs to do to have a committed relationship with another person. If he's not willing to do that, or he just doesn't want to, the best thing for you to do is to move on and find a guy that wants the same kind of committed relationship that you do. The most important thing to do is to keep living your life and focusing on you. Never, ever forget that it is only when we refuse to accept anything less than a fully committed relationship that you find that's exactly what you eventually end up with in the end. You're worth so much more than any crumbs that you might be holding on to, hoping that someday he's going to want a committed relationship. Because you, beautiful, you deserve nothing less than this.